All right, I'm being told that we're live. So welcome to this year's 5th to 6th transition night. My name is Andrew Clapsett. I'm the principal at Sedgwick Middle School. So good to have you here, although we would prefer in person. We are doing what we can to provide you as much information. One of the things that we hope to do tonight is to give you an idea of what middle school life is like. We also want to give you as a family an opportunity to meet some of our staff members who will be presenting along with me, as well as answer any questions that you may have. So we've been doing this presentation for some time, so we hope we're going to answer all of your questions, but we do know that there are some things that we won't. So there's a couple ways that we can go about answering those unanswered questions. One, you're more than welcome to put any questions you have in the comments section on the live stream. Ms. Kate DeJulius, our assistant principal, is actually on the other side of that. She will do her best to answer those. And if it's something we can't answer tonight, by all means, please reach out to us by phone, school counseling, assistant principal, or principal, and we will do our best to give you the answer that we can. All right, again, welcome. We're going to have a slideshow and different presenters, so we're ready to go. So I introduced myself, but the middle school model, we have actually two assistant principals here, Ms. Kate DeJulius and Mr. Frank Cardona. And we assign students based on last name alpha. So Mr. Julius communicates with families and students with last names A through K. And Mr. Cardona communicates with families and is a resource for those families with last names L through Z. We are the Wildcats. We're very proud of that. And our school colors are actually red, white, and blue. I found something very interesting. Someone dropped this off. It's actually a handbook from 1975, and it lists our fight song and very clearly states our school colors. So we find little things like that since our school is nearly 90 years old. All right, next slide. So one of the foundations for our middle school model is the team philosophy. So I'm going to ask that Mr. Baldwin, one of our 6th and 7th grade math teachers and team leader, join us. Hey, Mr. Baldwin, good to see you, sir.
Hi, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure to join you guys tonight. I do want to say before I get started that I was not here at 1975, but I was alive, but not here at Sedgwick. I've been here at Sedgwick for 26 years, and it's been an absolutely wonderful experience. I'm going to begin by talking a little bit about the team philosophy. Our team philosophy is what separates a middle school, which is what we are here at Sedgwick, from a junior high school. With the junior high school, the teachers are primarily just focused on their subjects. But here at a middle school, we're focused on the entire child. I like to say, I heard this saying a long time ago. It says kids don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And so the team philosophy kind of helps to facilitate that. The team really works together in order to make kids feel comfortable, kids and families feel comfortable, and really builds a relationship for success. On our team, we have about 7 to 8 teachers, depending on the year. We have our core academic teachers, math, science, English, social studies, and a foreign language teacher, and a couple of arts teachers attached to each team. And that team of teachers shares a common group of students who we kind of work with throughout the year to help them become successful, to navigate the important 6th grade, from 5th grade to 6th grade transition. With our team, we try to meet on a daily basis. Usually, sometimes we don't meet on a Wednesday, but for the most part, 4 days a week to discuss how to make our kids successful. On the first day of school, the team really works hard to make sure the kids are extremely comfortable just being here. When kids first come to school, we don't really just throw work at them. We let them know that, we're here to support them and to make sure that their year is successful. Our first day is primarily spent teaching the kids how to just get to know their teachers, to know one another, get to know the schools, know some of the common expectations. The school is really large, and so we know that the kids come in and they're extremely nervous. And so we do everything we can during that first day, actually the first week, to make sure that they're feeling comfortable with being here. I think we should go to the next slide if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to add one more thing to that, Mr. Baldwin, real quick. So the first couple of weeks, we'll describe that as a transition. So I know Mr. Baldwin kind of explained meeting the students, making sure they feel comfortable, not throwing or giving them a lot of work in the beginning. We know that moving from one teacher all day, or maybe one or two teachers all day, to 7 or 8 is, it takes a little bit of time to get used to that. And one of the things that, we have the worried about, excited about is, changing classes and things. So it's only when students are ready, and Mr. Baldwin will tell you a little bit more about this, only when they're ready to step out on their own, travel to their classes together, do we allow them to do that. We want them to make sure that they're actually able to do that on their own, and we support them every step of the way. Go ahead, John.
Kind of piggyback on that, as Mr. Clapsaddle said, kids come in and they're extremely excited about coming into middle school, but there's a lot of things that they're worried about also. And so we take that in consideration during that first couple of weeks of school. They're definitely excited about the fact that they have a little bit more freedom than they had in the elementary school. There's so many more activities and clubs that they can get involved in, meeting new people, and then taking new classes also. Definitely excited about those things. But so many of them come in and they have, some fears. Each year, the students kind of come in and they're worried about, am I going to get lost? This is such a big place. Am I going to be able to open my locker? That's one of the things that we do on the first day of school. Before we even say anything to the kids about expectations, we take them out into the hallway and we have locker practice. And we practice and practice and practice and practice until they get comfortable. We actually even have contests so that we make it fun, and it kind of helps to alleviate some of the stress of getting into the lockers. In order to facilitate them feeling comfortable with each other and meeting new students, we do a lot of team building activities during that first week of school. Again, our focus is to make them feel comfortable and not just to throw schoolwork at them. Homework is another big issue that students are worried about. So we really don't dive into that during the first week of school. Homework during the first day is literally just going home and taking some of the paperwork home to their parents and then bringing it back the next day. That's all we have for homework. And then we gradually, I'm sorry, Mr.
No, I'm sorry, John. Go finish your thought, and I was just going to add one thing.
We gradually work towards giving them their homework assignments. And as the year progresses, we expect, I would say, probably between an hour and a half of homework. But again, that's something that students do worry about. Some students do struggle with. So as the year progresses, if you find that your student is struggling with the homework, please reach out to us, because we want to make sure that all the students are being successful and that homework isn't such a stress that they're coming into school and not doing their best throughout the year.
So I just want to add two quick things. The way our building is set up, the majority of classes that sixth graders have are in one area. We do call it the sixth grade wing. They may take 1 or 2 classes in areas where we have our electives classes, or our UAs classes, as we call them. But for the most part, it is relatively easy for them to navigate from classroom to classroom. The other part is, historically, I've been here 8 years, and we know that students come from different elementary schools, from different teachers, and have different homework expectations. So we build a student's ability to reach that threshold where they can do an hour to an hour and a half of homework. We don't just start with an hour and a half of homework. We build their capacity to do that because we do know they're coming in with, some have a little bit of homework and some have a lot. But any questions about that, when we have our meetings in the fall, the teachers and teams will explain that to the students and to the parents as to what the homework expectations are on the team. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, and I just want to just reiterate again that we definitely take in consideration everything that the students are worried about. We want to let you know that our primary focus is making sure that they're comfortable, so you can reassure them that they don't have to worry about anything during that first week of school, that we take care of them and ease them into sixth grade.
Perfect.
Next thing I want to talk about is our advisory program. Actually, the advisory program is one of my favorite things at Sedgwick. For those of us who are a little bit older, the advisory program is sort of like the old homeroom, but it's a little bit more involved. As it says, the advisory groups consist of about 12 to 15 students. And the purpose of it is building relationships. Each advisory teacher works throughout the year to build a connection with their students, so that if the student is experiencing any difficulties in school, be it academic difficulties, be it difficulties with peer relationships, that student has worked with that teacher in order to build that trust and build that relationship, so they have someone in the building that they can go to. The entire team really works hard to build relationships with the students so that students have more than one person that they can go to in a time of need, but it's that advisory teacher who is really, I would say, that core go-to person who day to day helps to build a relationship with that student. In advisory, students, they play games, they have extremely meaningful discussions about things that are going on here at school, things that might be going on at home also that are affecting, that could be affecting them at school. And one of the most important things that we do in our advisory program is our character education program, our social emotional learning piece, where students spend time just exploring different things that will affect and enhance their character. And like I said, one of my favorite parts of the day, unfortunately, as a team leader, I don't have a specific home base for advisory, but I do get the opportunity to visit the advisories on a daily basis. And there's some wonderful things going on, lots of wonderful discussions.
I wanted to add, so part of our character education program, if you haven't walked by our school and seen the front of the building, we have really large banners that show what we really focus on here. We want all students to be respectful, responsible, safe, and honest. And, we use that terminology with students on a daily basis. And we do understand at middle school, they're going to make mistakes. And we're here to, build them up, build their capacity, build their skills so they can navigate those situations on their own. But it is really our focus to ensure that they're demonstrating those things on a daily basis. We also feel it's extremely important to recognize students when they are demonstrating those qualities. So we do that in a bunch of different ways. We have just daily things that teachers have in their classrooms where when a student is showing responsibility, they get their name put up on one of our posters for everyone to see. And then at the end of each month, our teams do have Student of the Month lunches where we invite students and their parents in, not only for academic success, but when they demonstrate our core values.
All right, thank you. And this will be the end of my piece of the presentation. And I just want to reiterate that, Sedgwick is a wonderful place to work. Such a great group of caring educators, and your students will love it here and they will thrive. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. All right, you heard him. Best place ever. So web program. So a few years ago, probably 5 years ago, each of the middle schools took on an orientation program that actually we didn't have before. It's called WEB. WEB stands for Where Everyone Belongs. And it connects our incoming 6th grade students with our 8th grade leaders. So at the end of this year, we'll reach out to our 7th graders asking who might be interested in being a leader here in the building for next year as an 8th grader. There's an interview application process. And once we get our student leaders together, we take them through some training, team building activities, how they'll navigate with the incoming 6th graders. And then we actually have the orientation a few days before school, and we'll show that in a different slide. But it's not just a one-time event. They don't just welcome our 6th graders into the building the first couple of days and then off they go. We have ongoing opportunities for those 8th graders to talk with our 6th graders, to answer questions they may have. It's a way to connect them to, for lack of better words, an upperclassman here at school. There is a link here that will share this presentation on our website. So if you want to visit what the web program is about, you'll be able to do that. We'll post this to our website tomorrow, this full presentation. Next slide, please. All right, a typical Sedgwick academic day. That's a mouthful. So we start school at 8 a.m. and we go all the way through 2:50 p.m. And that's on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And for those that have been in the district before, Wednesdays is an early release for students, not for adults. And our Wednesday schedule is 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. We tell our families that our doors open at 7:40 a.m. to welcome students. We do understand that there's an occasion where a student may be dropped off prior to 7:40 or a bus arrives before 7:40. We do ask our students to go to the lunchroom. We do have adults and their teachers that supervise them until the bell rings at 7:40 for them to go to their lockers and their classes. So academic day, there are 9 periods in the day. Our students take our 5 primary academic classes, which include language arts or English, social studies, a world language. Hopefully you've seen the multiple emails we've sent asking for selections, either for music, choir, orchestra, or band, or a world language, so we can help start planning that in our 6th grade schedules, as well as mathematics and science. Now, that's 5 of the 9 periods. Another period is lunch. That makes 6. We have something called Learning Lab. Learning Lab is kind of like a study hall in that students have an opportunity to do their homework, but also meet with teachers on their team if they need a little extra help, if they have some questions about an assignment. That gives them an opportunity to do that. It's also the time of the day where our students who are in choir, band, and orchestra do some of their lessons and or rehearsals. So Learning Lab is a catch-all. And of course, if you're in the Quest program, that also meets during the same time. So it could be that a student has 5 Learning Lab days where they have flexibility to meet with all their teachers. There's also students who may take choir and band, which would take up 2 days a week for band, 2 days a week for choir, which would give them 1 day a week to catch up with their teachers. Excuse me. And then the other 2 periods of the day are what we call our unified arts. I'm actually going to bring in Mr. Garneau. Maybe Mr. Garneau. There he is. Hey, Steve-O. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. Good evening.
So our students take a wide array of unified arts. I'm going to let the expert here, Mr. Garneau, kind of talk you through. Mr. Garneau's taught health and PE here, but he'll talk you through what the rotations actually do.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to talk about our Unified Arts program and get you familiar with how we proceed. So we call Unified Arts in elementary school. Sometimes it might be called arts classes or specials. It consists of health, PE, art, music, and technological education. There are, as Andrew already said, we have 2 classes per day, typically one in the morning and one in the afternoon. We meet every day for 7 weeks, and we call that an arts rotation. Each rotation will last 36, 37 days in a row. So for example, right now we're in our fourth rotation that started at the end of February, and we're seeing our students for the second time. So they've already gone through the cycle once, and now we're seeing them for their final time in PE. So that's that. So again, health, art, tech ed, PE, and music. And the students have 2 specials or 2 unified arts per day. All right, next slide.
Yep. I'm going to add one more thing, Steve, if
Go
I
ahead.
can. Yeah, we feel at the middle school, we want to get all of our students the experience. As 11 years olds or even 10-year-olds in 6th grade, they may not know what they're interested in. So we want to get them experiences in all of those as they move through the middle school. They'll have a wide range of experiences, and then they're going to get to high school and realize, oh, I'm going to gravitate more towards PE, love it, or I'm going to gravitate more towards art. I didn't even know I loved it. And then they can select those classes as elective. So we feel that's important at the middle school.
So in terms of the music programs, as Andrew has already said, in school or during the day, there's choir, band, and orchestra that's built into their daily schedule. And then there are performing groups or ensembles that our students try out for. In 6th grade, top of the sixes is a vocal group that students try out for. There are additions that are required. Sounds is another one, jazz band, first string. So Andrew also wanted to talk about uniforms that students
Yes.
wear.
Yeah, so we do require uniforms for all of our ensembles. It changes from year to year. We try to stick with the same, for lack of better words, color scheme for a couple of years so that don't have to purchase 2 different ones. I think they're reasonably priced. It's really just a shirt we provide for purchase, but the rest is either black pants or khakis, depending on what the ensemble is. Once we get to the beginning of the year, you're going to get some information from the music folks, some forms that you need to fill out, and then request. And if any families are having any difficulties regarding purchasing those things, all they have to do is reach out to us, and we will assist them.
And they're often handed down from SIB to next SIB to next SIB.
Exactly.
And the kids look sharp when they perform and when they're in the parades and all those outside venues. Okay, next slide, please, Shannon.
Yep, we're on the next one, Steve.
Oh, here we go. So similar to what Andrew was saying, many of the arts teachers, what we really enjoy is giving the kids more in-depth opportunities for things that the kids really enjoy. For example, if someone's into art, there's art club. If somebody really likes PE and being active, there's obviously intramurals. There's a fitness club, and there's unified sports, which is a category of Special Olympics. If somebody's into technology, education, there's the robotics club. So I think Mr. Celio says we want all of our students getting a broad range of many different things. And then, as Andrew said, gravitating as they get older to what they really enjoy. And the enrichment activities that we have at Sedgwick are very plentiful, and they're led by great teachers who are very passionate about what they do.
I do have to say, Mr. Garneau.
Yes.
I was watching your boot camp run the other day, and you really worked those kids. They were huffing it. It was great to see.
They were getting after it. That's for sure.
They absolutely were. And what we always tell our students too, every year we have 2 or 3 clubs that were not part of our selections from the year before. Anytime a student is interested in creating a new club, the only really thing they need is to talk to me first to make sure it fits into our mission statement, so to speak. And then they need to get a staff member to sponsor them and pick a day of the week. So I know there's a few new clubs this year. Some clubs drop off from year to year,
right.
But if we don't have it, we can make it.
I think the last piece, just to follow up and close, when you go to Sedgwick or when you go to high school or college, making a large school into a smaller school. That's one of the advantages to getting in one of these little clubs. or getting into meeting a new group of people who are like-minded or like interest than you. So anytime you get involved with one of these clubs or activities, it just gives you another social outlet, bringing Sedgwick that can be big. And then we have advisory, which makes it smaller. And then we have clubs who it's another opportunity for you to be involved and be an active member of our school community. Thank you, Andrew.
Perfect. Hey, thanks, Steve. I appreciate your time. So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit, not in the slides, Shannon, just in thought. I forgot to mention the size of our school. I usually do that in the beginning, and for some reason it slipped my mind. So traditionally, we are around 900 students total. I do know that it fluctuates. We've had as many as 920 students in the building and as little as 860. So next year, based on fifth grade enrollment, we anticipate we're going to have around 300 sixth graders. And what that means is we will break those 300 students up into 3 teams of 100. So just to give you an idea of what those sizes, and the 100 students on a single team is like a small community. And that's what we really try to do. The other thing that we also didn't mention is we have a purpose of bringing kids together who may not know one another. In other words, they didn't attend the same elementary school, or they don't play sports or have a club together, to get them together and meet new people. That's purposeful. We don't take, it's not by chance. We do that. We do it in the lunchroom. We do it in advisory. We do it every opportunity that we can. And I think it's important what Mr. Gardneau had said is we really want students to be active in our school after the academic day, because those similar interests, whether it be the drama or musical, whether it be sports, they're going to connect with kids that have similar interests. And when kids are connected to school outside of the school day, they perform better academically. I've seen the data. It's 100% true. So we want to get them as involved as we can. Next slide, Shannon. Oh, it's Shannon. I keep on saying Shannon. Now you're going to meet Shannon. Oh, I can't hear you. I think you might be on mute.
Thanks.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Shannon McNeese. I'm the library media specialist for Sedgwick. And I'd like to come on and just make a pitch for part of the transition and being successful is to make sure that everyone reads over the summer. So kids finish school in June, they don't come back in September. A lot of kids take a break, but your child will be enrolled in a Google Classroom for summer reading. We have almost daily posts going out to encourage them, including contests and author visits, etc. They can be as involved as they want or not involved at all, but everybody has to read at least one book that they'll be expected to talk about when they get back to school in the fall. So you'll see that the public library also has lots of incredible programming around summer reading. We'll be sending kids messages through their school email about summer reading. And so the more books that the kids can get in over the summer, the smoother their transition.
Shannon, do you want to talk a little bit about access to the library, like how do kids access getting books and things like that?
Yep. So the middle school is a very different model from the elementary school when it comes to visiting the library. The kids do not have a regularly scheduled time. Instead, they can come independently. So they can come before school. They can come during learning lab. They can come for a little while after school. They can come during lunch. They can come in between classes to return a book. They can get a pass to come during learning lab or advisory, or sometimes even English teachers will send them. So they have to independently want to come to the library, but if they want to come, there's ways for them to come.
Perfect. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, let me remove me.
All right. All right. So Joy Russell. Hey, Joy.
Hello.
Joy is our PTO president. I wanted to give her an opportunity to share with everyone a little bit about what our PTO does here, how it may differ a little bit, maybe, Joy, from elementary as far as time commitment. I like to say it is not the time commitment that it is at the elementary level. And then any other things that you would like to share. So, Joy, go ahead.
I want to thank you for including me in this presentation and welcome you from our parent caregiver community here at Sedgwick. I've been a Sedgwick parent for the past 5 years and a Sedgwick PTO board member for the past 4. This is my last year at Sedgwick. My youngest is finishing 8th grade now. It's been a wonderful experience. I want to just assure you that both of my boys started the first day of school very nervous, but the teachers, the teams are superb in making everyone feel comfortable, and they both came home from the first day very confident. Just from a parent perspective, the kids will do well. I wanted to give you a little overview about PTO at Sedgwick. It's still a parent-teacher organization where we focus on supporting our families, our students, and our teacher staff community. We generally host monthly PTO meetings. We've been doing them virtually for the past 2 years, which has afforded an opportunity for, I would say, more engagement because it's easier just to chime in from home when available, and that's been kind of nice. We typically do a little bit of PTO business just to give you updates about what's up and coming and what we're working on. But in an adjunct to that, we host some type of topic or guest speaker. This year, we've hosted 2 different nights where we had a Q&A with the principals, a Q&A with the counselors to kind of give you an informal opportunity to ask questions as they come up in the fall. We hosted a community social worker for mental health and parenting in the pandemic with a Q&A. We hosted a night about social and emotional learning and our programs that Sedgwick provides. And we hosted a Board of Ed Q&A meeting where we had Board of Ed members participate. And we hosted an evening with our community resource officer and our principal to discuss social media and how it impacts our middle schoolers. So we really try to provide opportunities for engagement, Q&A, and learning something along the way, because we're all in this parenting journey together, and it's a great opportunity to kind of learn and hear from each other in this format. PTO runs similarly to elementary school in that we did host some skate nights at veterans in the fall for the grade levels so they could have an evening of skating. We hosted snacks at veterans for those evenings. We've attempted to host a couple of other events which were kind of squelched by Omicron. So always looking to see if we can move forward with some more event planning. We support our teachers with a welcome lunch and teacher snacks and a teacher appreciation lunch in the spring, just like we do at elementary school. Our middle school teachers really appreciate our support. A lot of support happens in elementary school. Sometimes it sort of fades in middle school, but they really welcome our support. So that's what I'm here to do, is make sure that our community is feeling supported during good times and bad. We are very engaged in our social media. We welcome you after tonight to ask to join our PTO Facebook group. It is a private group, so there will be a couple of questions to answer. Just let me know what elementary school you're coming from so that I can welcome you to participate in that. It's a place where I share as much information as I have access to that would be supportive for you to know, information on community events, school events, reminders to wear your unmatched socks for Down Syndrome Appreciation Day, things like that. It's also been a really great place over the past few years to ask questions. So we really welcome parents to post questions to our Facebook group, and parents will either answer the question or help you figure out where to get the answer. So please join our Sedgwick Middle School PTO Facebook group, and we welcome you to participate in that community this way. Just for another way that we communicate is Constella. We started using Constella a few years ago because it was syncing with several of the feeder elementary schools. In the spring, we will make sure you have access to information on how to start joining Constella at the end of the school year so that you're ready for the fall. We are hoping to host a spring spirit wear sale. Last year, I had several parents reach out to me at the end of the year asking about purchasing Sedgwick spirit wear for their elementary graduates, because they wanted to kind of give them something, just get them excited for the year to come. So this year we're really working hard to coordinate a spring spirit wear sale with any other spring parent events for Welcome You to Sedgwick. We'll make sure that information gets spread out to you through your elementary schools or from Sedgwick so that you can participate in that. We're just making sure that supply chain issues are impacting the spirit rail process, but we'll get that information to you as soon as possible. Another way to reach us, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us at our PTO email. It's ptosedgwick@gmail.com. And I think that's all for now. I wanted to just welcome you again and let me know if you have any questions. We're happy to help.
Thanks, Joy. Have a great night. So we encourage parents to participate and families to participate in any way they can. PTO is just one of those ways. I do want to kind of say that the time commitment for our PTO and volunteering here is a lot less than it would be at the elementary school. We really only have one big fundraiser for the year. It's a little bit of work, but it's well worth it because it does help support end of the year activities for students or anything else that may be going on here. I did receive a message from my assistant principal, who I told you was monitoring some of the comments. And one of the comments we saw, which is a common question, is if you're a family that has twins and you would like your twins to be scheduled on the same team, we can absolutely do that. That would be something you would need to just reach out to Miss Kate DeJulius, either by phone or by email, and we would be able to accommodate you. It doesn't mean that their schedules will be exactly the same, but for you with multiple kids to navigate two different sets of teachers will be difficult. So I just want to put that out there. As far as buses go, because that is the next bullet on our slide, regular buses, it's often a question, will my child get a bus to Sedgwick? Because they may or may not get a bus currently to their elementary school. The answer is the distance changes. I do know that it's different from elementary to middle, so there could be families that receive a bus service to school now, but may not get it next year. I believe transportation reaches out to families midsummer once we get all of our enrollment data. They do reach out and provide bus numbers and what that will look like. We can definitely help you if you have any questions about that. We are open all summer, so we can help you navigate that as well. Besides the regular bus that picks you up in the mornings and drops you off in the afternoon, we do have late buses. So our late programs, whether it be clubs, activities, intramurals, they all end at 4:00. So from 3 to 4, we host everything after school. At 4:00, we have late buses that come. Now, it doesn't matter if you ride the bus in the morning to school or not, everyone can take the late bus home. The stops are a little bit different. There aren't as many of them, but it's going to drop your child off in proximity to your house. We have maps everywhere. When students come in, of course, they're not 100% sure what stop to get off on. We have security, we have administration. We will help them out. And we usually don't start our after-school activities for a few weeks, so it wouldn't be something that we would start the first week as far as late buses and activities. And we usually send that information out to families to give them a heads up when we're starting all of those things. All right. If you're not, if it hasn't been information overload to this point, we're going to move on to lunch. So each lunch is organized by grade level. So all of our 6th graders eat on the same lunch wave, 7th and 8th. We do not mix them together. If your child has an account at the elementary school, they type in their student ID to access their online funds. It's the same exact number as it is here. And as Mr. Baldwin said earlier, we walk all of our students through our lunch process, whether it be getting a lunch in the hot lunch line or buying snacks and where do you sit. We do all of that. I find that adding the money to the account online is the easiest thing for students as far as accessing the funds to purchase lunch. But again, you'll get more information in the fall about that. But their ID numbers stay the same. The other question we often get is the differences. Like people ask, what's the difference between Sedgwick and Bristow? So the obvious answer, one of the obvious answers, is it's just bigger. You know, we're around 900 students. They're around 300 and some students. I do think that Bristow is the right school for some folks who maybe want a little bit smaller environment. The class sizes are the same though. So if we have 20 to 24 students in a class, Bristow has 20 to 24 students in a class. It's no less. But they do offer a lot of after-school activities as we do. We may have a few more because we're a little bit bigger. But I think both schools are great. Hopefully you'll get a lot of information about who we are tonight. Hopefully you attended the Bristow presentations last week or the week before, and you're able to, make a decision that's right for your family. Now, I could probably spend the next 45 minutes talking about cell phones, but I will not. I will give you kind of a brief overview of what some of our expectations are here as it relates to cell phones. But I'm always going to share with families that it's always your decision. It's your decision whether your child gets a phone. We would never give you that advice. Some students are ready and responsible, and to be fair, some are not. Do a lot of our kids have phones? They do. I think it's increased over the years, but I don't know if not everyone does, that's for sure. We do have a policy that when students come into our building, their phones are turned off and secured in their lockers. That will be what the expectation is next year. So again, they come into the building, the phones are off, and they're stored away in a locked locker. We do not want the students carrying their phones around. We do not, because they'll have it on. I have 3 kids of my own. I have one 9th grader, one 6th grader next year. He'll be here next year. I'm sure he'll love that. But as far as phones go, they have to be away. Phones are a big distraction, no matter what age, including myself. If I had my phone here, it'd be flashing. I would be distracted while I'm presenting. We don't want our 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade students also be distracted. We understand it's a valuable tool, especially if students walk to school in the morning or after school if they're staying for after school activities or intramurals, or walk home. It's a great way for them to communicate. But during school hours, the expectation that is off. And we're not going to get into what happens if it's on or not. Parents, if you have, and families, if you have some messages that you need to give your child during the school day, you call the office. We deliver that message to the classroom, or we call your child down to deliver the message, and vice versa. If they need to use the phone to call home, they just have to ask their teacher. We send them down to the office and they can make a call. So that's my 5-minute spiel on cell phones. All right, next slide. All right, school counseling. Ms. Pasafumi. How are you, Allie? Good.
Just had to unmute myself.
No worries.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me hop on and share a little bit about the school counseling role. My name is Allie Pasafumi. It's Allison, but I go by Allie Pasafumi, and I will be the 6th grade school counselor for your students next year. I'm a new resource to the 6th graders coming in, since the elementary schools don't have school counselors. So I'm generally another resource in the building. But one of the great things about my role is that I will rotate with your students throughout the 3 years they attend Sedgwick. So each year your student will be assigned kind of a new set of teachers. However, I will remain their school counselor. So that's pretty cool. We do have 3 school counselors, one for each grade. We have an additional support counselor, Sandra Lopez, and she supports students in all levels for various reasons and needs. So that's a little bit about our role a little bit, and I'll continue a little more details as well. So we do serve as the 504 case managers for any student that has a 504 plan. If your child has a 504 plan, we will be the person to contact for any questions. Our school counseling program is planned, and our approach is we try to be proactive. We implement preventative activities and to support all students. So, for example, I'll go into the classrooms to deliver lessons throughout the year and provide students with not just like academic strategies, but also we discuss like social and emotional skills. During the first lesson that we deliver, I'll ask students to complete a needs assessment, which gives me a better understanding of how each student feels about school and how I might be able to support them throughout the school year. So that's kind of our approach in the beginning, so I can get to know them a little bit. We try to do at least 3 lessons throughout the year, and the topics kind of vary. So I'm excited to do that with your 6th graders. And we assist students with their academic, social, and emotional needs. We can do it in an individual setting, in a group setting. Some examples of how we support kids could be like we help students get organized, or we discuss strategies to manage their time while they're trying to balance school, friends, extracurriculars. We also help students like work through conflicts with peers, because we know that happens in middle school. Kids get in conflict, kids get in disagreements. So if that happens, sometimes we work with them and we try to, help them get through that conflict. We help them discuss any difficult feelings they're experiencing or emotions they're experiencing. We talk a lot about coping strategies in individual and group settings. So those are some of the topics we address. Some students, I notice when we, in the beginning, in 6th grade, some students get worried when the school counselor calls them down, but really they're not in trouble. We're there to support them. We're there to check in on them and make sure that, if they need any help or assistance, we're there to help. We typically meet with students during lunch, advisory, or learning labs. It's kind of like their, say free time, but that's their time that they're not in their academic classes. We can also meet with kids before and after school. If it's an absolute emergency, obviously we want to meet with them right away. So if it's an emergency, we will meet with them during an academic class. I also meet with the 6th grade teachers. So I think they mentioned that every day the 6th grade teams will meet or several times throughout the week. And so I'm part of that team, and I will meet with the 6th grade teachers, and that kind of helps us communicate about student needs, and we collaborate together to support kids. And if something comes up and you're not sure who to call or reach out, please feel free to contact me. I can most likely help, but if I can't, I will connect you with the person that can. And lastly, we will be having a school counseling evening. I think it's in May, I believe, Andrew.
It's in May for sure. I think
Okay.
we were holding off to ensure that we could host it in person. I think that's the goal. Some of these, like tonight, we already had it on for virtual, and it's too hard to change once it's virtual. But I do know we were holding off on committing to a date because we do want to have it in person. So when do you think we might have that narrowed down? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay.
But
Well, we will
can talk with-
communicate to you.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be in May, and it's definitely going to be here.
Great.
Beyond that, I'm not sure. Yeah, we always host one. Last couple of years, it's been virtual, but it's a time to have our whole counseling department there with our supervisor of counseling, just an open forum to, obviously, we're going to share some things, but open discussion about, things that you might have questions about or concerns about.
Yeah,
So
we'll
we
give a
can do
little
that.
more. Yeah, we'll give a little more detail about our program as well.
Yeah, and we send. I'm sorry to interrupt. So we will send a flyer out to the elementary schools, or you'll get something directly from me. They give me access to email 5th grade families now. So even tonight's link, I think you received from me, not from your elementary schools.
Awesome.
All right.
So I look forward to meeting you then during that school counseling evening, and I look forward to meeting your students next year and getting to know them over the next 3 years at Sedgwick. It goes by very fast. I actually am the 8th grade counselor now. I started with these 6th graders 2.5 years ago. It goes by very quickly, but it's a fun 3 years, and I'm looking forward to getting to know your students.
All right. Thanks, Allie.
Yeah.
So although I'm not going to read this whole list, we have a lot of people here that are here to support, from parents to counselors, administrators. We do have a community resource officer, Officer Casella. He's been with us for, 5 years now. And, his office is here. So if you see a police car parked out there, it's because he works here. He's in our lunches, and he teaches a lot of classes here too. So he teaches in our health classes, both 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So has a great relationship with kids. We have a security team. Actually, some members of our security team kind of changed over, some retirements, and we have a new energetic group, which is awesome. And some of their backgrounds contain working with youth in different communities as their role as officers, which is awesome. But again, the message is, besides the academic parts, I'm hoping everyone leaves the meeting tonight knowing that your kids are in great hands. And as I said, I'm not only the principal here, but I'm also a parent. I had one student one of my kids go all the way through, and now he's at Connor, and then I'm going to have another one, and I have another one. So this is my home as a parent as well as a principal. All right, last slide. Second to last slide. So transition activities. So tonight is one of them. We will have our elementary school 5th grade classes visit here. I want to say it may even start in April, but it goes through May. I don't know how it works other than it's by classroom teacher. They come, we split them into groups, we take them on tours. So your child will get an opportunity to walk through the school during the school day to see it. And then we will have our counselors go down to the elementary schools to meet with the 5th grade teachers. We want to get as much information as we can about your children so we can best support them. Summer mailings. So we do work the entire summer to create schedules for our students. It's a lot of planning. We have 900 students. We have a lot of individual classes. So we don't typically send those out to families until probably about 10 days before the end of the year. So, before the beginning of the year. See, I told you I was distracted. Someone's texting me on my phone to tell me I missed something, and I'm already looking over at my phone. See, kids, that's why you should have your phones. So 10 days out, we'll send it out. You'll get a copy of what team your child is on, and then who their advisory teacher will be. We'll talk a little bit about the first days of school. And then when we get to school in the beginning of the year, we'll have an orientations about 2 days before. Again, that's all coming out. And then in the fall, we're excited because we host a 6th grade picnic. We invite all the 6th grade families in. We go onto the athletic field. We probably have 200 to 300 people show up, which is awesome. It's like a meet and greet. And then we have open house, which is when you'll get to come into our school. Hopefully everybody get to come in and meet the teams of teachers and learn a little bit about what the expectations are for the year. So one of the things I did not add that my assistant principal reminded me of. So tonight we're doing our virtual presentation, but next Monday from 3:30 to 5:30. So next Monday, 3:30 to 5:30, we are doing family tours here, which would include our 6th grade students and 1 or 2 of their family members. It'll be difficult if we have, large groups of 10 people show up from one family. It really is for the students and 1 or 2 family members. We understand if you have some childcare issues and you need to bring little ones with you, we totally understand. There are no appointments that are needed. You do not need to sign up for anything. We did this last year from same time level on a Monday, and I think we had close to 250 to 300 families make their way through in about 1 hour and 40 minutes, which is crazy. But I'll be there. My assistant principals will be there. Our school counselors will be there. Our 6th grade teachers and our other team leaders will be there. So you'll have a custom tour, which will be great. So that's next Monday, the 21st, from 3:30 to 5:30. The tours will start and take place right near the main entrance, which is adjacent to Wardwell. Park anywhere in the parking lot, walk up to the front, and off we go. All right, one more slide. And again, since this is recorded live, we'll be able to share this with you. But here are some important folks you should know and their email addresses. So obviously you met Ali Pasifumi, our 6th grade counselor, school nurse. If you have any things this summer before about medication, you need to speak to her beforehand. By all means, shoot her an email. Then, of course, myself, Mr. Julius, Mr. Cardona, and Shannon, who you met from Library Media. All right. So that is our presentation. I'm sure that we didn't answer all of the questions that people have. So if you show up for the tour next Monday, you'll have 10 or 15 minutes of our undivided attention. You can ask any questions you have specific to you. Students, if you're listening, you will also have the opportunity during that tour and in May when you come with your 5th grade classes to ask any questions that you have. But we're here all summer. If anything's on your mind, you feel free to give us a call. and we will do our best to answer those questions. So that's all I have for tonight. I want to thank Shannon McNeese for helping us run this, Mr. Garneau, Ali Pasafumi, Joy Russell, John Baldwin. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody else for their participation tonight. And again, we are always excited to welcome new students in. This is a great place to be, and we are excited and can't wait for them to come next year. Everyone, have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.